Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 5 easy ways that you can create tension in your music without relying on traditional chords and harmony. Let's dive in. Number 5 on my list is single sustained notes. Now remember, I'm not talking about harmony here. I'm not talking about, how can you create tension with a harmonic progression. I'm talking here about simple tips and tricks that you can apply to your music that easily create tension and suspense. And the easiest way is a long sustained note. Let's turn this up a bit. There we go. If I go even lower. Traditionally, we would use these in film scoring and music for the media, whether that's trailers or whatever, to set a tone, to give a mood, and this is the easiest way to do it. And traditionally we would go at the bottom end of the spectrum or the top end of the spectrum. The way we would use these single notes is slightly different, but the rules are all the same. It creates a sense of tension and suspense. Now this type of drone, the higher drone, is kind of like waiting. Like you've asked someone to marry you. Will you marry me? And it looks on their face. They look around the room. Yes! That type of suspense. Whereas this one, this lower, darker one, isn't waiting. It's foreboding. It's something is about to happen that I don't think you're going to like. Let's try that scene again. You ask someone to marry you. Will you marry me? She screams in sheer terror at the prospect of marrying you. So, or he screams, whichever. Now, this is what I love about drones and single sustained notes is that you've got those two spectrums, but what's this one? It still has a sense of waiting, it still has a sense of foreboding. So if you combine the two, how does that create suspense? Now the most simple way to look at these long sustained notes is that it's kind of like it begs the question, what is about to happen? How is this going to end? When will it end? When will this blooming note end? And what is going to trigger that ending? And what is going to happen? So it asks the listener to ask questions. What's about to happen? What instrument is going to come in? What rhythm is going to come in? What mood is going to come in? What is going to happen? And that is the key to a lot of these things on my list today, is this idea of suspense. Of getting the listener to ask questions about what is about to happen. Setting up anticipation. Okay. Number 4 on my list is an extension of the long sustained note, and it's a specific articulation we often use in trailers, in film score, in composition to create suspense and anticipation, and that is the harmonic. And specifically, the string harmonics. Now remember what I said earlier, when you've got a high drone, it creates this sense of waiting. Now the thing about harmonics is it does create that sense of waiting, but because of the ethereal sound, the lightness, the airiness, the almost musical equivalent of a whisper, it also creates a sense of something dark about to happen. I absolutely love harmonics because they can swing either way. They can be this a kind of a light, and that's when you kind of come in with a something more light and fresh, or you've got this lovely sort of dark sense of I love that chord. something more ominous is about to happen. I know you're probably thinking, well, isn't this just the same as a long sustained note? And well, to be honest with you, yes, but one chord isn't one chord the same as another chord? No, because the feeling behind it is different. Like I said, this is kind of like a subtle version of a long sustained note. It gives this whispery feeling, this ethereal. It's a very, very good way to create atmosphere as well as creating suspense and anticipation. And I absolutely love using them, especially if I record them myself, because when I record them myself, they sound uneven, slightly out of tune and scratchy, which just adds a whole new level to it. Right, number 3 on my list is another articulation of a long sustained note. It is the tremolo. Now, a tremolo is simply a single note played fast. Really, I mean, that's at its simplest. So you could play a tremolo on a piano, on a guitar, whatever, and you would have the same effect. Traditionally, we tend to lean towards string players for scoring work and for cinematic work. And again, it creates that sense of suspense and of waiting, because it gets those questions asking. What is about to happen? Why is this note being played like this? And if you kind of think of it in terms of it feeling like a shaking note, and whether that's suspense or whether that's fear, or whether that's simply excitement, is up to you. But it's a really, really good way to kind of take a long note and give it that sense of waiting and anticipation. You can, of course, combine the two, your harmonic and your tremolo. And it becomes this sort of more full, rich sound. It has the wispiness of a harmonic, but has that slight shimmer of a tremolo. But it doesn't always have to be that kind of high sound. When it's played in a lower instrument, again, it has that foreboding to it. Love that sound. Oh, just a little note. I've got it. The patches I've saved are Sol Ponticello, which means close to the bridge, which makes it feel lighter, more scratchy. It produces kind of a brighter sound. That's why it sounds the way it does. It's also got a thin sound, which I really like because it kind of sounds distant. Just a separate note on there. Number 2 on my list is simple, repeated rhythmic ideas. I wish I'd come up with something a little bit more easy to say. Simple, repeated rhythmic ideas. I guess you could say pulses or patterns, but it doesn't always have to be a pulse. And I suppose pattern probably is the best one. Anyway, it's a rhythmic idea that you repeat. Now, that doesn't have to be just rhythmic, but I'm going to grab a patch that I can use to exemplify this. Where am I? I want Cerberus. Cerberus, there you are. Let's go for type. Okay, so I've got the violins loaded up. Come on, Richie, wake up. There we go. Think of it in terms of this. A heartbeat. If I can find it. There we go. Now, the reason we think about it in terms of a heartbeat is because obviously when we're scared and we're trying to listen, like for instance, say it's the dead of night, you're alone in the house and you hear something. Despite your best efforts, you can only hear the thumping of your own heart in your head. And it kind of highlights that we get into this fight or flight feeling. which is one aspect of the simple repeated rhythmic ideas. Another aspect of it is to simply think of it in terms of a clock. This passing of time, this waiting, which I really like. This is used all the time in trailing music, this ticking clock. And that's just a fantastic and easy way to convey waiting, anticipation, and suspense. You know, if you combine... Oops, wait, let's try to see if I can do this two-handed. If you combine the two... Okay, that sounds like We Will Rock You. Damn it! You get the idea, though. The idea is that you're kind of going to the physiology of the body, this what your body does when it's scared. You're then having a musical reference of how we convey time and waiting, which is the ticking clock. Now, the other aspect of it is like this dripping tap in the distance. What is that bloody noise? You know, it doesn't always have to be like 60 beats per minute. Doesn't have to be 120. It's be divisible by minutes and seconds. It could just be this single pulse that just will not stop. And they are fantastically easy ways. I mean, I could have just called this pulse, but another easy way to convey suspense and anticipation. Oh. I mean, me doing this is pretty annoying. And that's another way you could look at this, is like, how can I create the sense of annoyance? I mean, that's what we often do with clusters. Right. Now, it doesn't have to be rhythmic. It can be pitched. It can be an ostinato or something like that. You know, think in terms of just, even if you had just a, oh blimey, even if you had a minor chord, just repeating. This creates a sense of suspense immediately. But obviously we're not relying on traditional chords. So let's think in terms of octaves. It's taking the ticking clock and the pitched elements of the long notes and taking it that step further. And it works really, really well if you work in 5s or 7s. So let's go 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Because those odd numbers are unnerving, because they never seem to resolve. Really nice way. Think of it in terms of it like the theme song for Halloween. This like repeated thing that just doesn't give up or resolve, and it just starts to create tension because it doesn't resolve. We're waiting for this to resolve. Come on, resolve. And you get the resolve, but we're not doing that here. We're trying to set up this feeling of incessance, of just it will not stop. And you can do that with simple, repeated rhythmic ideas. It's going to catch on. S-R-R-I. That's never going to... Sry! It's never going to catch on, sorry. You'll never guess what. I've saved my favourite until last. My number one way to create tension and suspense in your music is to use a riser. Now, yeah, I obviously have my own riser instrument that I created called the String Risers. We recorded an orchestra playing whatever note they chose. I think they all started on an A and then they rose up randomly at whatever speed they wanted. Oh, that's a piano. It just takes all of the stuff we've got, especially the drones, to the next level, you know. And then when you start to layer this, and it starts to rise at different rates, I mean, what is happening? Something bad is about to happen. I think My car is about to explode. Oh wait, no, it's my coffee machine is ticking. There we go. It's this wonderful sense of not only tension, but building suspense. It takes this idea of suspense, and then you add that riser to it as well. And then, if we were to then take these, oh, they're just so good. We use them all the time in trailers. You don't have to use string instruments. You can use white noise machines. You can just use a pitch bend on a synth. It's really, really straightforward. But the thing with all of these is I want you to have an easy way to create tension, create anticipation, and create suspense in your tracks. Because if you can create a feeling in your track, then you have got the listener straight away. Sometimes you listen to a piece of music and you go, well, it sounds like they've recorded everything really badly and they're not playing right. They're out of time, and the kind of like critical muso pops out of your head. But what they've done is they've captured a feeling. And that's what you can do too with these 5 simple little tricks. See you in the next one.